Back to advancing with watercolor. We started a small series last week looking at a distant rainstorm, and we did a tonal study, or a study in black and white. That is a great warm-up. It's always an approach that I favor to get to know my subject before I move on to color. And this week we're going to extend what we did last week into a color painting, make a few design changes, and try to evoke the feeling of an approaching rainstorm. I've included a PDF file below which describes the project in detail. You can find that in the description. All right, let's pick up our brushes and head over to the watercolor table. All right, let's go ahead and start. I'm going to be using this big brush to get started. Take some of my yellow ochre. And just start to put a light application into the sky. Not much of anything really. Primarily to make this wet. Leave our spray bottle handy in case we give that a little more moisture. It's a little strong. All the way down, and let's cut around. Our farmhouse, our silo. Good. A little more up on top. And we keep watching the bottom, for moisture that we want to keep away. Well, let's mix up some color now. I realized in doing the tonal study that I wanted it a little darker towards the bottom, so I'm going to start a little darker. Notice I put in a little white in addition to the colors, and that makes the paint move a little more slowly. All right, let's see what this looks like. Just kind of come across. I think we can go darker still. Put in a little more blue, a little more burnt sienna, a little more blue. Payne's gray. Again. And we'll keep an eye on that. Rain is starting to fall, as you see. Let's help it along. A little more paint down here. Okay, I'm going to just spray this lightly 3 times and a little more up above because it's gotten dry up here. Now let's continue our way upward with ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. I want to keep it sort of a cool gray, as you can tell. But the burnt sienna helps to cool it down. Nice little upward movement here. As long as it's wet, I can adjust these. All right, and again, ooh, it's a lot of the Payne's gray. A little ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, a little water with that, a little white with that. Looking good. Let's continue that across here. And a little darker. A little stylized there, I know. And let's go very dark up on top. Sort of menacing. The light is just a little bright. looking okay. I think that's going to be okay. Let's do the foreground. Foreground, we're going to take, same brush, I'm going to take the leftovers here and put a little cadmium yellow so that this bluish hue is serving really as a sort of mother color. The cadmium yellow is helping us to make a sort of deeper green. Let's try that across here. Putting a little bit of white with that, a little extra water. Okay. Let's go on this side as well. Oops, covered my house. Luckily, it's not the important part of the house. I think I can leave it. And I'm going to add a little extra darker green to the lower section. Try to get a little bit of a graded wash happening. See how that goes. Oops. Okay. Before we do any more oopsie moments, let's let this dry. Good. Our dried off painting, dry to the touch. Guess I had some schmutz on my hands. I'm going to start by putting a little bit of a warm gray into the road. Some burnt sienna, some yellow ochre, and some of this blue here. That's plenty. Now, let's start to put on those trees. Trees are going to be made by sort of the same colors we've been using. The little bit of ultramarine blue, some cad yellow. So it's a subdued green, but dark. Putting it on dry paper. And I'm using a brush that has a fairly nice point. So you can see that farmhouse really starts to come out. Okay. More trees along the front line here. There's a little bit of a rise on the other side behind. I'm going to put the trees there a little later. First, just some smaller trees that they line the road that leads to the house, or they divide the crops from one neighbor to another. Generally, though, the big trees are planted near the homestead for shade, of course. There we go. That gives us a real linear feel to the ground. Pushes back against all the darks in the sky. Okay, looking good, yeah. We might even put in a decorative element. With a very skinny brush, something like a telephone pole or a vertical element. Or some fence posts. Makes it look a little more desolate, or like we're far away. Okay, let's put some distant trees. I'm putting a little more blue into the distant trees so that they fade back a little bit. Could also just put some water. And of course we make them smaller. Then I'm going to put another wash in the foreground. It's a little flat through here. I want there to be sort of a light moving towards the farmhouse. So I'm going to use my big flat again, add some water to this, and just start with a bit of water through here. Yeah, something like that. So that we have a little concentration of light right over the road too. Like that. Makes it more dramatic. And let's put some strong darks into the, put a little burnt sienna into this dark. Which is my farmhouse. So a little bit lighter version of this to the silo. That. This white behind the house is a little too bright. So let's just put a wash back here of green. The only thing I can think to add is a little dry brush on the roof of the house, but I'm going to wait and to see how this dries because I'm not sure whether how dark to make it just yet. Right now it's a very strong focal point, having that little bit of white, so it's tempting to keep it. Let's put in some dry brush for our road. Just a few strokes. That. soften those out a little bit.